Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So two big things to go through today. First we're going to talk about the glorious golden oiled boys that are the Custodes. I'm a massive Custode fan and we finally have a preview of some of the Custode stuff, which is very exciting for me. There's also Sisters of Silence in there and there's also some Assassinorum stuff in there, which we'll go through as well. And also the Warhammer Daily Show today was all about terrain, so we'll talk about the terrain and all the things they talked about on that stream as well. So let's jump in and let's start with, of course, the talent of the Emperor, the Emperor's chosen bodyguards, the badass when it comes to the Imperium. So let's start with the stratagems, and when we talk about stratagems, I actually thought this was going to be like Talons of the Emperor, but it's not. It's Adeptus Custodes, and as we'll go into in a second, you'll see like the Sisters of Silence ones and stuff like that. So that is something that definitely took me off guard. Again, it's probably down to because you can use different units to do different things. That's all it's about. Now, this one is one command point, and I absolutely love the sound of this one. So for one command point is use this stratagem at the end of your opponent's charge phase. Select one Adeptus Custodes unit from your army more than 1 inch away from enemy models. That unit can immediately perform an heroic intervention as if it were a character, but must finish that move within 1 inch of one or more enemy units. So basically, if you have like a unit that is around your guys being charged within the correct range, you can use a stratagem and you can fight. You can, like, I'm intervening in this. So that means like Telemon Dreadnoughts, Wardens. I'd probably recommend. I absolutely love Wardens. He looks so badass. But yes, all the attacks. The thing for me, like when I picture Custodes are like the best when it comes to melee. I think that is where they should excel. Once Custodes are in that like melee kind of battle, then it's basically just all downhill for like Custodes, because it's these are like the Emperor's chosen. We are like the heroes. We have like these big glaives with bolters on it and stuff. When you read about Custodes in the books and all that kind of awesome thing, they're chopping people apart, ripping, killing demons. This is what I want. I want Custodes to be absolutely lethal when it comes to melee combat. But the next stratagem also shows that we're not all about the slashy thing. And again, this is pretty cool. So for one command point, this is called Superior Fire Patterns. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when an Adeptus Custodes infantry unit from your army did not advance in your previous movement phase is chosen to shoot with. Until the end of that phase, models in that unit make double the number of attacks with rapid fire or pistol weapons. Again, that's pretty decent. Now, one of the big things they talked about on the stream, because they did talk about the Custodes in somewhat, of course, with the terrain rules as well, was shield host. And they actually go into a bit more detail now about the shield host, because the shield host stuff is something I think it adds a little bit of character to the Custodes as a whole. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Custodes are split up into different shield hosts, and now you can actually deploy them as shield hosts and get certain bonuses from it. So it says here, the really exciting development in War of the Spider is the option to field your Adeptus Custodes as one of 5 shield hosts. Each has a unique warlord trait, relic, and stratagem that reflects its background. For example, the Shadow Keepers that watch over the dark cells beneath the Imperial Palace can take a lock warden warlord trait, and you're actually seeing this in the background now. So the warlord trait, lock warden, it says when resolving an attack made by a character model against this warlord, subtract 1 from all the hit rolls. When resolving an attack made by this warlord against an enemy character unit, subtract 1 from the saving clause, including invulnerable saves, in brackets, including invulnerable saves. -2 invulnerable saves. I like it. I like it a lot. Screw your invulnerable save. You are not being saved for my glorious boys of the Custodes. The really cool thing about this is like the Shadow Keepers. I absolutely love the Shadow Keeper lore. Like, they're basically the ones that protect like all the nasty things. Like, even like the Emperor was like, whoa. These things are so nasty that they have to be locked away. Even I don't want to use these things. So, these are like, the kind of badasses and stuff like that. So it's nice that each shield host now will get a different personality. For those of people who like paint them as like Shadow Keepers and all the other ones and stuff like that, you actually have a choice now to take them, and actually it'll affect you when you're actually in the battlefield. So again, it's really cool that they're doing that. And they give us another little preview this time for the Solar Watch. The Solar Watch are the ones all in white. Again, another fantastic scheme. So this is called Relic of Terror, the Swift Silver Talon, and it says here, model with a Guardian Spear only. A model with this relic can shoot and charge in a turn which it advanced or fell back in. So you can fall back and still do this, and you can advance and still use this. Again, great. This Relic of Terror replaces a Guardian Spear and has the following profile. So Swift Talon, when it comes to shooting, the range is 24 inches, assault 4, very nice, strength 4, AP -1, damage is 2, and the Talon, when it is into the melee range, it's of course range melee, tight melee, strength +1, AP -3, and damage is D3. And of course, Custodes, when they get into that combat and they're putting all the attacks out and everything like that, that is good. So, you know, if you are equipping a certain individual with that relic from the Solar Watch, then, you know, hopefully you are be bringing the Daka and also the swinging stuff and killing anything you come across. And another stratagem they show off for 1 command point is the Imperium's Hand, the Emissaries Imperiatus stratagem. Bloody hell, that's a mouthful. So it says, use this stratagem in any phase when the Emissaries Imperiatus unit from your army is chosen to shoot or fight with. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit, ignore any negative hit roll, wound roll, and armor penetration characteristic modifiers, and any benefit to the saving throw as a result of cover for that attack. And it actually says at the bottom, use this when any enemy unit is cowering in cover and blast them to pieces in the name of the Emperor. Are they trying to say that me as an Imperial Fist, who uses cover tactically, should be penalised for that? How absolutely dare you? If it wasn't for the Imperial Fist, Mr. Golden Boys, then there would be no bloody terror for you to actually stand and defend the Emperor in. That is absolutely shameful, but that is a great actual stratagem and really like that. So you just, you know, and basically anything that's got anything on it that's, you know, stops you from doing things, that just negates it all and it's like, get out of here, just yeets it, get out, yeets it across the battlefield and it's done with. And something else which is cool, because when it comes to the Custodes structure, you basically have shield captains and then you just have, you know, like the commander of the Custodes, the captain general, and that's basically it. But they've added something else now called a captain commander trait, and it says here you can like basically pick between two things. So the first one is like the indomitable constitution, add 2 wounds to the characteristic of this model, or it says here, or perhaps you prefer them charging into enemy hordes and cutting them down, of all those who stand in the way. And this is the master of melee. Whilst this model is in 1 inch of enemy units that contain 6 or more models, increase its attack characteristic by 2. So you know, if you've got like a horde coming at you, whatever it may be, you know, even if Space Marines or Brazen Drakes, run now, then you get an extra 2 attacks and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool as well. And finally, we come to the Sisters of Silence. This really is kind of what I've been waiting for more than the Custodes. Just, yes, I know I love my Custodes, but the Sisters, I've always seen the Sisters of Silence as an integral part to the Custodes, and when they didn't really receive the love in 8th edition, I was like, what the hell is going on? So hopefully in future editions, well, hopefully in 9th edition, that they'll get a codex that blends in with the Custodes and called Talons of the Emperor, and they get more models and everything like that. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So it says here, as the Psychic Awakening expands across the galaxy, it's good to have someone who can shut down psychers to help the Sisters. To help the Sisters of Silence in their duties. They have some new rules and stratagems that will help enshrine their place as the Imperium's premier witch hunters, and that's what they are, because these guys just shut any kind of psyker down. So something that we have now is Psychic Abomination. So it says this unit cannot be targeted or affected by psychic powers. When a psychic test or deny the witch test is taken for an enemy model, subtract 1 from the total of each unit from your army with this ability within 18 inches of that model to a maximum of -4. Okay, all right. So if you've got like 4 units of Sisters, if someone's doing fingers, then there's a lot of minuses. I thought they were like stopping minuses in 9th edition, like they can only have like -1 or +1. Maybe this is something different I'm getting confused about. And we actually have some previews now of some of their stratagems as well. The first one is called Empiric Severance. So it says, for 1 command point, use this stratagem in your opponent's psychic phase. When an enemy psyker manifests a psychic power within 18 inches of a Sister of Silence infantry unit from your army, after any deny the witch attempt, roll 1d6 on a 3+. That psychic power is resisted and its effects are negated. That's really, really cool. So even if you fail to like the full -4 thing, if you get the max thing, which really shouldn't be failing, but if you fail it, then you can actually pay 1 command point, and then on a 3+, you can actually stop it in its place. That is nice, especially, you know, if you're going against like Thousand Suns and like all the crap that they can bring on the tabletop. That is very, very cool. And the next stratagem we have is called Purgation Sweep. This is for 1/2 command points. So it says, use this stratagem in your shooting phase. Select a Witch Seeker unit from your army that contains 5 or less models for 1 command point, or 6 or more models for 2 command points. Until the end of that phase, when determining the number of attacks made by a flamer weapon that model in that unit are equipped with, any results of less than 4 counts as a 4. Okay, that is very, very decent. So it's more or less that stratagem is you're getting 4 attacks across the board if you deploy that with how many bloody things, with how many how many models you've got in that unit. That is very, very nice. A lot of 4s flamer weapons, that is, I'll take that all day, and it's cheap as well. 1/2 command points, very, very good. But it's not all about being, you know, the Empress Chosen, the Empress anti-psycho thing. What about these boys and girls, should I say, the Officio Assassinorum, the absolute just weirdos of the Imperium, basically. So we get a couple of new stratagems for these. The first one is called Shadow Assignment for 2 command points. Use this stratagem before the battle begins. If your army includes exactly 1 Officio Assassinorum unit, remove that unit from your army and then add 1 Officio Assassinorum unit of your choice to your army. That unit is removed, does not count as being destroyed for any rules purposes. Unlike other units that are added to your army, this new unit does not cost any reinforcement points, even in a match play game. Okay, so you can basically like do buffing units for that one, I think. Wow, okay, that's pretty scary. And this one is 0 command points. What? Priority threat neutralized. Use this stratagem in any phase. When a character model in an enemy unit is destroyed by an Officio Assassinorum model from your army, you gain 1 command point, or 2 command points if the character was a warlord. You can only use this stratagem once for each enemy character model destroyed. That's pretty decent. So the more command points, sorry, the more stuff you destroy, the more command points you can potentially get back. And, you know, that's what the assassins are there for. They're basically there for killing enemy units. Enemy characters. That's the way I see them. Every time someone's played against me with the Officio Assassinorum, they always go for my characters, because that's what, as I just said, that's what they're more or less geared towards. Yes, they can take on other units and stuff, and they're great at doing that. But every time I've seen them played, they always just like, let's go for like all the aura buffers and stuff like that, and just take them down. Right, and if we move on to the new terrain rules, apologies, the article is not up on the Warhammer website as I'm recording this right now. But there was a couple of notes that I managed to get from the stream. People have sent me some notes as well, so I appreciate all the people that have been sending me all the stuff, because I came late again. I'm so sorry. But terrain, again, as we've mentioned before, is going to be like a very major player when it comes to 9th edition. And this was one of the things that actually Stu said actually on the stream. He basically said that the terrain is like a player now on it. You know, you have you and your friend playing against each other, but the terrain is also a player, so it's very, very important. They also mentioned that the studio wanted to make sure that line of sight was cut down more. They did mention in the stream that 8th edition was like a very, like, there's a lot of powerful type of guns in the game, and I completely agree. Like the heavy laser destroyer, some of the things that the Space Marines can take, you can absolutely mow stuff down on the battlefield. So this is why they wanted to like kind of cut down the line of sight a bit more. I would go to far as to say maybe that's why they've made the game a bit smaller, so like melee units can actually get to gun lines faster and start, you know, disposing of them and stuff like that. So yes, they are really taking the terrain into a whole different direction now with 9th edition. They did mention that there's different categories now when it comes to terrain. Like there was buildings, which you basically, you know, like bring yourself, like you can actually you know, put in your army, gives you buffs. There's area terrain, and there's obstacles, and I think it was a hill if I'm not mistaken. Like obstacles are stuff like crates and, you know, stuff like that. Area terrain is stuff like ruins and craters, I think they mentioned, and you know, each will have a certain different thing attached to it. They also mentioned that certain terrain can't be destroyed. So if you're building your buildings, which, you know, you put in your army that give you buffs and stuff, they can actually be destroyed. But stuff like the hill, the obstacle, and the area terrain, those cannot be destroyed. They will always actually remain on the battlefield, giving the certain buffs that they actually have in the game. Some people said that they mentioned that there's going to be more terrain kits coming in the future, which makes complete sense. If terrain is going to be this massive new feature now when it comes to 9th edition, it only makes sense that they're actually going to make new terrain to go along with it. You know, more like of like the obstacles, the kind of hills and stuff that we're talking about, the area terrain. Hopefully we'll see like more of the craters, ruins and stuff coming back. Do you remember that like awesome little church piece of terrain that they did? I think it was for like 4th edition, 3rd edition or something like that. I've actually got it on my desk. Hopefully we can see like more badass things like that, which really bring character back to the actual maps and everything that's involved when it comes comes to terrain. Anyway, that is me done for another video. I want to say thank you for coming, thank you for watching as always. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, anything like that, leave it down below in the comment section and we'll have a nice little chat about this as we always do down there. See you now, have a great day and bye bye.